some collection of videos.
PJ nearly knows them all off by heart.
He was telling me how he came by them, the store closing.
What store?
Some place in town. He got the whole stock cheap.
Not at all. He got stuck in some mail order yoke years ago and they keep sending him videos. Stop. They'd have cleaned them if he'd have paid them. Some mistake in the system. He keeps getting videos and he never gets a bill. Then when the other book used to go up north, he used to bring back a rake of blue ones.
What other book?
One word.
Oh, what would take him up north?
He used to drive an odd load of sheep up for Dodger Diamond. Dodger used to bring them back and forth and draw subsidies on both sides of the border. Usually the butcher says, you'll always know one of the Dodger sheep because he'll have a reel in his head from going round in circles. Franz Fisher finished all that with one check.
Who?
Common market, new rules.
And he'd bring back adult movies.
Aye. You can nearly see steam coming out of the chimney the night he come back. So you're off today?
This afternoon. Train to Dublin, overnight there, and then back in the morning.
It was very good of you to stay for me while doing that.
That was the least I could do, Mary. I don't forget. Don't think we could have survived without your mother. And the beating and the row with Seamus, she was all I had to turn to. Her and me. Here, I just boiled a kettle. Fancy a cup of tea or a coffee or something stronger.
What are you having?
Well, I bought a jar of coffee the other day. I doubt if these 2 bucks are used.
Make me a cup so, chance it. See how the Yanks make it.
It's instant.
Everything in America is.
I suppose it seems that way. She got a good send-off?
Yeah. She'd have enjoyed seeing the crowd. Although some of them she'd have wondered about. What the hell is he looking for coming to my funeral, gawking?
Yeah. I'd hardly know anyone there except those that came to introduce themselves. This young buck comes up to me and he goes, you won't remember me, Eamon, but I'm James Green, the local TD. And before I could help myself, I asked him, was he the weasel's son? I don't think he was too pleased.
No, that boy wouldn't want to be known as the weasel's son.
How did he become a politician?
God knows. How did Bush come to be president? The master says Weasel O was elected by the significant number of sane constituents who refused to vote for any candidate. I suppose he was the best of a bad lot.
And they're still going to funerals, politicians.
Still running through the graveyards after the live vote. Half the time they don't even know who's dead, only they're told to go.
What's so funny?
Do you remember the Pelter McGowan beyond the Cologne?
He was one cranky man.
One? If cranky men were scarce, he'd make 3 or 4 of them. Talk about this house. This place was a haven of peace and serenity compared to the Pelters. Morning, noon and night, rumbling about everything. Fighting with the sons. Could do nothing right. 2 saints they were to stick it. Anyway, he died. Green, the TD that you met the day, arrived at the funeral. The funeral was more like a carnival. The lads were so glad to rid of the Pelter. And the TD goes over with this long face to one of the sons. After sympathising, he says, how old was your father? 83, says Martin, the son. And says he, I didn't hear he was sick. Was he long complaining? 83 fucking years, says Martin.
Oh, the Pelter was so detailed. Are you lonely, Mary?
Well, I don't know what way I am, to tell you the truth. I knew she was dying, of course I did, and I had myself well geared for that, but I didn't know how big a hole I'd be left after she went. I turned to say something to her 100 times a day. I think she should be still in the corner. I don't know how to fill the days yet. So much of the day involved taking care of her.
Oh, you took some care of her, all right. You should be very proud. Besides the set-up here of my father.
That was different, Eamon. Men aren't built for looking after the sick. They haven't the patience. And then there was all that I was shite between Wanward and himself, and poor PJ got caught fool in the middle of the whole lot. Was it any wonder there was more relief than sorrow after the old man died?
We just think in these past few days, the death of your mother, the way she was mourned. We should have done more in this house to heal things. Now it's too late.
It's only natural to feel that way after a death, Evan. You always regret not saying things or doing things. No matter how hard or how well you try to do things, you always feel some guilt.
Cried at your mother's funeral. Observed my own fathers. Sure, she was like a mother to us after Mammy died. She was over here at Seamus. Wasn't she up here every day until we went to school? And she made sure we were kissed up right wherever we went.
She always said she was only giving back what she got. The time she had the trouble, your mammy was the only one stood with her. Apart from her own parents, of course, which God loved them, they had to swear with the church.
At the time she had the trouble, what sort of people are we to describe bringing a child into the world as being in trouble? Was it the church who gave us language like that?
That's the way it was, Eamon. The times that we're in it. There's no use shouting back at them now. My mother had to walk a rough road, but she never complained. She said to me one time that the two things that would never be taken from her were her daughter and the circus man.
She loved him.
Till she drew her last breath.
Was it a pity that the love of such a great woman should be wasted on a man like that?
It wasn't, Eamon. It wasn't wasted. He loved her too, in whatever way he could. Daddy couldn't stay even if he wanted to. I like to think he did. He wanted to. But the travel is in the circus man's blood. Now the poor man is hobbled like the rest of us. Imagine a tightrope walker, crippled with arthritis, imprisoned.
Does he know your mother died?
I rang him. He lives in a little village outside a place called Verona in Italy. 3 sons. The wife knows about me, but the sons don't, so we have to be careful. And I only ring when I know the sons are on the road at the circus. He cried when I told him. You could tell he was upset. I felt sorry for him, but I was glad he cried.
Glad?
For Mammy. It's what she meant to him.
Did you never want to see him?
Oh, I did. For a long time I was obsessed, nearly demanding.
Why didn't you? Why don't you? Go see him like.
There was this 3-ring circus in Sligo one time. I didn't know it was on or anything, but I was in with Mammy on the bus. She was getting new glasses. And when she spot the poster for the circus at the ESB window, I saw her face. She was 20 again. And there was a matinee on, so we said we'd go and get the evening bus home. So there's the pair of us within the circus, in the middle of a crowd of screeching children. Candy floss, clown dolls pissing on us, cars exploding, the whole works. And she's having the time of her life. And tears are streaming down her face, and I don't know, is it with joy or sorrow? There's 2 high wire walkers in 2 of the rings. That was one of Daddy's job. And one of them has a safety net, and the other one hasn't. And Mommy says to me, Mary, take a look at those 2 books and tell me which one do you think is most likely to fall? And I said, the one with the safety net. And she said to me, Mary, your father never walked with a safety net. And don't you ever be bothered with a man with a safety net. You'll spend the rest of your life lifting him out of it after he falls. After that, I couldn't go to meet Daddy.
Why not?
She painted such a picture of the man, this fearless giant. I was afraid I'd be disappointed.
That way wouldn't come on me that time.
What?
The time when I was going to America, you wouldn't come. Were you afraid you'd be disappointed?
No, Eamon. I knew I wouldn't be disappointed, but I had a duty to my mother. I couldn't leave her.
She told you to go with me. She encouraged you.
What else would you expect her to do? But when they came to her when she was carrying me, with the address in London of where she could go to get rid of me, she didn't abandon me. So I wouldn't desert her, no matter what she said. I knew I would interested in, and I cried many's a bitter tear after you.
I should have made you come with me. I loved you.
Or shut up that old nonsense, Eamon. What would we do with a yoke like me? When I was being assembled, God was on his lunch break. I wouldn't have gone. I couldn't have gone. One circus man was enough in our house. Anyway, worked out best for you. I'd have gone, would you have got to California? Met Carol.
California was an accident. I was asked to drive a load from work over there. He offered me a full-time job. I liked the sun, so I said yes. Carol worked in the office there. That's how we met. The rest is history.
So it was all accidental.
Yes.
You really believe that, don't you?
Yeah. Why shouldn't I?
Did you love Carol when you married her?
Well, what do you mean?
Did you?
Well, I don't know. I certainly thought I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have married her. But if you mean I married her on some sort of a rebound, maybe I did. Maybe. I didn't want to be alone, Mary. I didn't want to be alone.
Do you love her now?
Yes. Can you not love two people?
We had our time. We were lucky that nobody knew or found out, because then we'd have been forced into something we might have regretted.
I wouldn't.
Stick with the memory, Eamon. Stick with the memory. You know, your father always wanted to meet Carol.
Yeah?
Yeah, he felt you were taking some sort of revenge on him by not bringing her.
No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all.
Then what?
Look, Mary, I felt I owed it to you not to bring her here. Not to cast her in front of you and saying, this is the woman I chose above you. That wasn't it at all. And I have a good life. A good life with Carol. But I was afraid if I brought her here, I might compare her to you. And she'd come off the worst. I had that to lose. Can you see that, Mary?
Strange. I'd never have thought of you as a safety net man.
Well, whatever. As well, just only the three of us knew.
Four. Four of us.
Four?
Your father knew.
How? Was Hardy your mother who told him?
No. Fathers just know things like that. He never said a word until the last week he was alive. He said you'd be coming for the funeral, but couldn't go to this time either because you were married.
At least he met my boys.
Eamon, how did you know that?
What?
That the boys were here.
It's like you say, fathers know these things. No. I told her mother and she thought I ought to know.
Go away.
No. I saw enough of this here. Now, if it was something they wanted to do, then let them do it, as long as it didn't involve me.
Why? Why did you never want to bring your family here? Just the boys even, on a holiday. It's where you come from. Are you that ashamed of it?
Ashamed? No, I don't think that's the right word. For as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be somewhere else. I wanted to get away from here.